There's a conversation we rarely have about first-time smoking effects, one that goes beyond the familiar warnings and statistics. It's about the uncomfortable truth of why people start, and why that first experience can feel so deceptively positive. Understanding nicotine brain effects requires honest discussion, not just fear-based messaging. When we avoid talking about why smoking feels good initially, we leave people unprepared for what they might experience. "I wasn't expecting it," someone once told me about their first cigarette.
Suddenly, the mental fog I'd been carrying for weeks just lifted. I could think clearly for the first time in months. My anxiety quieted. I actually wanted to go for a run afterward.
This isn't a romanticization of smoking. It's a documented neurological reality that deserves honest examination. The reluctance to discuss these initial smoking experiences honestly may actually do more harm than good, leaving people unprepared for what they might encounter. Many first-time smokers report similar effects: enhanced focus, reduced anxiety, increased motivation, and a sense of mental clarity they hadn't felt in weeks or months. These aren't imagined benefits, they're real neurochemical responses that help explain smoking addiction patterns. When nicotine hits your brain, it performs what can only be described as chemical wizardry. Within seconds of that first puff, nicotine is binding to acetylcholine receptors throughout your nervous system, triggering a cascade of neurotransmitters that temporarily transform your mental state. The immediate nicotine brain effects include enhanced cognitive function through increased acetylcholine and norepinephrine release. These neurotransmitters sharpen attention, improve working memory, and reduce mental distractions that may have been plaguing you for days or weeks. Anxiety reduction via dopamine pathway activation. Despite being a stimulant, nicotine can produce calming effects by triggering the brain's reward system, temporarily quieting racing thoughts and social anxiety. Increased motivation and energy, as these same neurochemical changes boost mood and drive. Many people report feeling more capable of tackling tasks they'd been avoiding, including physical exercise. For someone struggling with attention issues, social anxiety, or mental fatigue, these first-time smoking effects can feel almost medicinal. But here's where the story takes a darker turn. Your brain is remarkably efficient at maintaining equilibrium. Those same nicotine receptors that created such a powerful initial response begin to down-regulate within days. The brain essentially says, if this chemical is going to be here regularly, I'll adjust my baseline to compensate. This neuroadaptation process explains why smoking addiction develops so quickly. What felt like cognitive enhancement becomes the new normal. What was once your natural baseline now feels like deficit. The cigarette that once sharpened your focus now simply brings you back to baseline, and without it, you function below where you started. This isn't weakness or lack of willpower. It's neurobiology operating exactly as designed, creating the foundation for long-term smoking dependence. Why do we so rarely acknowledge that harmful substances can produce genuinely positive short-term effects? Perhaps because we fear that honesty will encourage experimentation. But this approach may backfire. When someone experiences these effects firsthand and realizes they weren't warned about them, they might question everything else they've been told. The real question isn't whether that first cigarette can make you feel better. It's whether we can find sustainable ways to achieve those same mental states without borrowing against our future health and well-being. Understanding smoking psychology means recognizing that people don't typically start harmful habits for irrational reasons. They start because they experience real, immediate benefits that address genuine problems in their lives. The focus, calm, and motivation that nicotine can temporarily provide aren't unique to smoking. They're mental states your brain is naturally capable of achieving through healthier means. For enhanced focus and attention, regular meditation practice, adequate sleep, 7-9 hours nightly, and structured work environments can improve concentration without chemical dependence. For anxiety reduction, progressive muscle relaxation, deep breathing exercises, regular physical activity, and mindfulness practices offer sustainable anxiety management. For increased motivation, goal-setting frameworks, accountability systems, and celebrating small wins can boost drive and energy naturally. For cognitive clarity, proper nutrition, hydration, limiting multitasking, and taking regular breaks support optimal brain function. These alternatives require more effort up front, which is precisely why they work long-term. They train your brain to achieve these beneficial states naturally, rather than chemically hijacking existing systems. Perhaps the most honest warning about smoking isn't about lung cancer or heart disease, serious as those risks are. It's about the false promise of an easy solution to real problems. That first cigarette offers a preview of mental states you're absolutely capable of achieving naturally, then tricks you into believing you need nicotine to access them. The smoking addiction cycle begins not with physical dependence, but with the compelling experience of temporary relief from genuine struggles. Understanding first-time smoking effects helps explain why traditional anti-smoking campaigns often fail. When people experience immediate cognitive and emotional benefits, warnings about distant health consequences feel less relevant. We need more nuanced discussions about why people make choices that harm them. The person who tries their first cigarette and feels immediate relief from anxiety or mental fog isn't being foolish. They're responding to a very real neurochemical event that addresses problems they've been struggling with. The key is providing better context for these experiences. When people understand that the benefits they feel are temporary and come with escalating costs, they can make more informed decisions about whether short-term relief is worth long-term consequences. Effective smoking prevention and cessation programs should acknowledge why smoking feels appealing, while simultaneously offering concrete alternatives for achieving similar mental states safely. If you've experienced these initial positive effects from smoking, you're not alone. Recognizing that these benefits are real but unsustainable is the first step toward finding better solutions. Consider what specific problems smoking seemed to solve for you. Was it anxiety, focus issues, low motivation? Once you identify these underlying needs, you can work on addressing them through sustainable methods that enhance, rather than hijack, your natural brain chemistry. The most effective argument against harmful choices isn't denying their short-term benefits, but understanding exactly how those benefits become a trap, and then building better alternatives. Understanding why something works, even temporarily, is crucial for finding better alternatives. The conversation about smoking needs to evolve beyond simple warnings to include honest discussion of why people find it appealing in the first place. When we acknowledge the real, immediate benefits that drive initial smoking experiences, while explaining their temporary nature and long-term costs, we create space for more effective prevention and treatment approaches. The goal isn't to shame people for their choices, but to help them understand the full story behind their experiences, including the neurochemical realities that make harmful substances feel helpful, at least initially. What experiences have you had that felt immediately beneficial but revealed hidden costs over time? How do we balance honest discussion of risks with acknowledgement of why harmful choices can feel so appealing?